Faggots, faggots. I am Mocha Fantasy and welcome. We've got about 10 minutes to the red light. I am Mocha Fantasy, if I didn't already say that, and today I'm alone. There's no James today, so that's a bummer. But I'm just gonna sit here and watch some trailers all by myself while I wait for this shit to get started. Oh, Emma, what's up, Emma? How you doing? You like that Violet Evergarden review we did? It was pretty bad, but I mean, at least we had a good time talking about it, though. I'll tell you that. But okay, yeah, today is gonna be it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be really intimate between myself and you, as we have no James here to be loud and obnoxious. Get some music playing for 10 minutes, yeah? Doesn't that sound nice? Oh my god. But no, yeah, Cowboy Bebop today, finishing that. Nobody liked it. As far as the majority of the subscribers that would routinely tune into the stream, nobody liked Cowboy Bebop. And that's a shame, because I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. But that's just me. So today we're finally finishing it up, and we watched the last 6 episodes, 21 through 26, and then when we get started at 6, we're going to go ahead and talk about that and get it all done with, and then we're going to talk about what's next to come. And James had a fantastic idea that I loved, and for those of you that's tuning in for the pre-show stuff, Emma, what's the next? Thank God. For those of you that tuned into the pre-show, yeah, you're going to get to hear what I'm not going to mention during the stream, is that James had a wonderful idea. We were thinking of better ideas to kind of go over these animes, because everything that I've done with this channel since Afterthoughts, or at the time Couch Time, our reaction videos were doing so well. Well, I mean, you know, well, relatively compared to the show quality and shit. But we kept thinking, like, oh man, what are we gonna do? Hold up. The chat's not showing up in the pre-show. Why is that? I know why. That didn't fix it either. Oh, I don't have it. Show. I'm confused. I'm confutadoed. StreamLabs. Yeah, it should be chat box. Oh well, it'll come up eventually. But no, we had a good idea. I was trying to think of better ideas to watch more animes, because the problem is with the reaction videos, though they're mindless to edit, and they take, I mean, you know, they don't take a lot of intensive brain work to edit, because they're pretty straightforward. You just clip yourself reacting to it and cut out, you know, things that are boring and whatnot. But the problem is that we could only do like 1 or 2 a week. 2 episodes, or 1 episode a week really is all we could do. I guess we could do a little bit more, but it became to the point where we were doing nothing but reaction videos, and I don't personally like that. And so we were like, oh man, how are we going to bring in, and that's why I did the podcast, because then we could do 5 episodes a week instead of 1. Afterthoughts, which is what Couch Time turned into, where now we can watch an entire anime series in 1 month and just give you our afterthoughts, our reactions of the series. I'm even thinking about bringing in reactions to superimpose into there maybe, but the idea is to get as much out as possible. And James had the idea that instead of watching 1 anime per podcast, we're going to try watching 5 animes per podcast. But instead of watching 5 episodes, we're going to watch at least one episode of each. And then review all 5 of them episode by episode. So it is going to be more like a club than it's ever been before, because I mean, we're going to try to binge watch the best we can and watch more than 1 of each, but we're basically going to be covering 5 animes at once. And once we exhaust our suggested list, or if we ever do, then we'll start going to brand new animes that are currently airing, and it'll be a good time. But the next animes on the list are gonna be Aran, if I pronounce that right, Aran High School Host Club, and we're gonna do Fairy Tail, and we're gonna do Wallflower, and we're gonna do Noragami. So those are the animes that we're watching next, and we're going to be watching all 5 of those for next week's podcast. So these podcasts might not be 1 hour anymore. They actually might go to 2 hours, depending on how much we have to say about the animes that we watch. So that's that. And I think I watched previews for all of the animes that we're going to watch, because I know I watched the trailer for Wallflower. I've seen Fairy Tail before. And when you say no offense, but that sounds like it will be a giant mess and very confusing. Hey, I don't disagree with that. But we're gonna give it a shot, and I'll do my best to not make it a mess. It's basically gonna be like a bunch of mini episodes, because we're not gonna bounce back and forth. What it's gonna be is it's gonna have different sections of the podcast. So, it'll be divided up. Like, it'll be the first anime. We'll do one anime at a time. It'll be like, all right, well, let's talk about Aran Host Club, what we saw this week, whether it's an episode or 2 or 3. And be like, here's what we saw in this episode, yada yada, and go on our tangents, do whatever. And then after we're done with that, I'll have a title card that like slides in, and it's like, okay, now we're doing Wallflower. And then we'll talk about Wallflower. Because see, the problem is, hey, I'm open to suggestion, Emma. I'm completely, as a subscriber, you let me know what you want to see, and that's what I ask almost every not almost every podcast, but I ask every once in a while, like, what do you guys want to see? And the biggest problem that I think we ran into, that I mean, at least being a small channel that we are, needing to cover as cast a wide as net as possible, is nobody liked Cowboy Bebop, therefore nobody watched the podcast because they didn't like Cowboy Bebop. So what do we do when we run into an anime that not everybody likes? Maybe 5 is too much. Maybe we could just do 2 or 3. But the idea is, we're going to cast that net wide enough that we can watch multiple animes a month. Because instead of just doing one anime a month, we could do more, Emma, you don't have to keep up with the anime. Nobody kept up with the anime. Hey, Lee, I just imagine you drifting in on like some Mario Kart. Coming in, I made it! Coming into the parking lot. Or coming in the parking spot. No, you don't have to keep up with the animes anymore, because nobody does. Nobody does. Especially nobody kept up with Cowboy Bebop. And then everybody lost their extra privileges, and I don't want my subscribers to lose extra privileges. I want everybody to be able to have extra privileges and be awesome and be Mocha members and shit. That sounds awesome. And that's another reason why I'm starting this card game now, is because I'm trying to involve you guys more, which the card game kind of sucks because you guys won't be directly involved. You guys will just have sponsored a character, and then each week or each month, depending on how many characters we have, there'd be a tournament, and you guys would get to see if your sponsored character ends up winning. And I think that's going to be a fun idea. And I didn't get the, sorry Lee, I didn't get the demo done for today, so there's no card game demo for you guys to see how it works, but I'll explain it at the end of the stream. And I think it's gonna be a really fun time with that. And there's gonna be ways to upgrade your character. Like every time you show up for the stream, you get 5 levels, I think it is, and like every time it's not pay to win. Like all those fucking stupid loot crates and pay to win things in video games, all that EA shit. None of that. You can't buy levels for your card by donating. But what you can do is just by showing up, you get to upgrade your character. And every time you have faction members that show up together, you all get a level up boost. And so each of your cards will get like 10 levels versus 5. And so there's a lot of fun stuff that I have ideas that just require you guys to show up and participate. That won't be too hard for me to track, because of course I have a log sheet. I have an Excel sheet that I've already made that has everybody's cards on them, and I have to track all of you guys every week. And so I'm trying to make it as simple but yet fun and engaging as possible. So That's gonna be a good time. But all right, let's get started with this show here.
Sounds like a lot of hoopla to make over a little Krabby Patty, right? Wrong!
What's up, faggots and faggots? Welcome to the Fantasy Anime Club, where we get together every Monday to enjoy animes that we love. And apparently nobody loves Cowboy Bebop. And James is gone, Lee. You were not here that for this. This will all be me, by myself, doing everything. Yeah, I think James, he's at his grandparents' house, I think. I don't know. All I know is he's out of town, and so he couldn't do it with us this week. But that's cool, because James didn't watch any of the anime, so it's all up to me. But I loved it. I was so enthralled. I think James is missing out, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, this is the podcast. We're going to be finishing up Cowboy Bebop, final review. We're going to be watching episodes 21, or have watched 21 through 26. And then we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to tell you, I actually really enjoyed it, except for like 1 or 2 episodes. So we're going to get into that. And I'll explain to you all my feelings. It's going to be like a typical review of the entire anime this time. And then, since this is kind of like the end of it all, I'm going to go over after that. We'll do a Q&A, of course. Just hanging out with your favorite fantasy boy, all lonesome by yourself. It's going to be really romantic and adorable. And, it's going to be close and intimate. It's going to be great. Now I'm going to talk about the card game a little bit, so that I can flesh out my ideas, and then maybe you guys can give me some suggestions. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. And then next week we're going to have a special episode where we're going to be watching new animes, plus having a special, maybe fantasies, philosophies, or something crazy like that. And also the changing of the Mocha rewards, or the Mocha membership. You're going to be changing that up a little bit. Alright, so now we're done with that crap. I felt emotions. Oh yeah, and by the way, did anybody keep up with Cowboy Bebop? Because it's just me that have watched it. Which again, Emma, is why I'm saying, can't just be watching one anime at a time. We need to be able to knock out multiple animes in a month, because it's like a drought. You pick the wrong anime, and I like to see it through. I'm not going to just pick an anime and just stop halfway through, because then someone at some point might come along and enjoy Cowboy Bebop, and then here my content just ends. I've got to finish it. So, emotions. Episode 21. It was forgetful. I was underwhelmed, and I felt dead inside. It was not a fun episode. 22. Oh, I guess I should do these one by one, huh? But okay, so we'll do it one by one. 21. Boogie Woogie. What the heck? Feng Shui. Feng Shui. Is that how you spell Feng Shui? What's that term? Feng Shui? Yeah, like align the Feng Shui, the chakras. Yeah, Shui. S-H-U-I. Alright, so this episode was, I felt like the execution in it was really weak. Oh, I gotta get these slides going. And I really wish you guys had seen it and watched it with me. Now I'm just going to be like talking, because it's going to be tough, because I don't even have James here now. But episode 26, this girl comes, and apparently Jet's dad knew this girl's father, and he supposedly was dead. And then so he sends a message to either both her and him. I can't fully remember this episode because it sucked that bad. But they basically he goes on a journey with his daughter, and she's like, my father does this feng shui thing. And I don't even remember how it goes, because it was that boring. It was, her voice acting sucked. The art was kind of okay, I guess. But the story wasn't even that compelling in that first episode. But I will say this, though. Spike's voice is the best thing about this anime. Because Spike, I feel like, has spoken the most in these last 6 episodes than he ever have, especially that we're wrapping up on his story and everything. I only watched the first 5 episodes, Emma says, then I went on vacation and went to visit my grandma in the hospital, which is why I haven't been around the last couple streams. Sorry, I don't talk much, playing Breath of the Wild. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I almost want to play Breath of the Wild again, but that game, it's so long. It is so long. after I finish Rise of the Tomb Raider, I'm thinking about playing Ocarina of Time again. I've been kind of missing that one again really bad. I want to play it again. This time, though, I won't use a strategy guide because I've already played. When I played through all the Zelda games, it was meant to be like a full 100% playthrough of the games and to have a good time. Almost, you could even use it as a strategy guide in that sense. That was a good time, but now I just want to play it just for the nostalgia purposes. And just have a good time doing it making my own journey experience. Episode 22 though, Spike. Let's see what happens in this one. Oh, this is the Spike bomber one. The Spike goes after the bomber, and there's this cowboy guy, Andy. Title of it is Cowboy Funk. I had laughs. My emotions were filled with laughter. I was entertained. I did feel stupid though, to be honest with you. So, okay, this episode starts with, what do we have here? We have the, so the bomber's like a security guard, leaves a teddy bear, right? Goes, and it's in a mall, and then Spike finds him, and then, you know, Spike's being the quippy, witty guy that he is, brings a teddy bear, puts it on his shoulder, and the guy's like, we're gonna die here together, and so he hits the button. Turns out Spike disarmed us. That was all cool. But this episode, it starts out interesting like that, but it does get pretty ridiculous because the cowboy, oh my gosh, I wish James was here because it's hard to explain and get a whole episode out without missing anything. But, so you have this cowboy guy, and he's like Spike's alter ego, and he's got white hair. He's like the same design as Spike, but he's got white hair, and he rides a horse, so he's like a literal cowboy. And he's like the worst of what, if Spike had no... What would it be? It was like no reservations. The best part of that episode, though, I felt like was, oh yeah, good practice. Because soon enough, James is going to be gone, and I'm going to have to do this by myself, which is going to be exciting and very boring. But, you know, that's why I need a co-host, man. I always got to have a co-host. But, so... The ridiculousness in this episode is used pretty sparingly, though. So it's not super crazy. But basically the episode, it has nothing to do with the what's it called? With the bounties. As a lot of these episodes are, because a lot of the episodes, some of them have to do with the bounties, but I feel like most of them aren't. And they have to, I don't even know what they are, because some of them are like... You don't focus on the bounty, but it's not focusing on the characters either. It's like focusing on like interesting story plot details that makes you think, or it just kind of gives you a ride. It's kind of like a roller coaster, but kind of like not. It's kind of like a roller coaster you'd find at Disneyland, where it's still fun. It's not super thrilling, but the sights and sounds and visuals are fun and engaging and things like that. And so that's what most of Cowboy Bebop is. And in this episode, it was funny because... Andy gets in, which is the cowboy, the bounty hunter who has no business being a bounty hunter. He's like this rich kid with what's it called when the parents like leave you money? Not an estate. It's what is it? Now I'm never gonna remember. Trust fund. It's like a trust fund boy, and he shows up when Spike is about to arrest the bomber. And he thinks that Spike's the bomber. And so this whole episode is basically every time Spike comes to arrest the bomber, this Andy guy shows up on his horse with whistling and the cowboy doo-doo-doo stuff. And he just ruins it all. And it ends in this big fight scene with Spike and Andy. And it actually is, the fight scene is actually really good. Like, that's what I love about Cowboy Bebop. Which I didn't think I was going to love this anime. I mean, it's so old and so dated. But what I love about it is even though they get so ridiculous at times... they're still able to bring you back and ground you. And towards the end, I almost cried. And we'll get to there when we get to there. But it was emotional. And it's a good anime, I think, when you can mix the jokes and the fun and the ridiculousness and still have the weight of it all. And still be able to have the viewers feel like they don't want to see someone die. Or like have them believe that someone could actually die. And they make Spike incredibly vulnerable in this anime. And the action sequences are animated so beautifully. And it's done so well. So that's what I have to say about that one. Whole building comes crashing down at the top when Andy and Spike are fighting and everything. One last thing on this episode before I move on to the next one is it was retarded because at the end, Andy rides off into the sunset on his horse because Spike basically lays a whoop on him. They kind of lay a whoop on each other, but Spike wins barely, which is a great way to ride a character. You don't want them to always win all the time. But he rides off into the sunset, but he's on the roof. I don't even know how his horse... Oh, his horse took the elevator. Okay, never mind what I just said. No, he was riding to the elevator. I don't know, the whole top of the building was like collapsed down 3 floors. I guess he was riding to the elevator. Never mind. I remember thinking like, this is retarded. But episode 23, this is where it starts getting good. 21 was kind of... 22 made me laugh. And then 23, we got a brain scratch. And this one, to me, was it was fascinating, thought-provoking, and I felt really curious towards the end. Because I think this one had the most... how do you say? It's... it has, like, the deepest questions in it. And it actually kind of weirded me out, man. So, basically, there's this cult leader who's worth a fuck ton of money, right? And so, Jet goes... Or, okay, how does it... Okay, he's got a lot of money. Faye's gone, right? So Faye's gone, and they see her on this commercial for this cult leader guy, and the announcer goes to her and asks her like, "Oh, why do you like the cult?" And she's like, "Oh, because it's wonderful, or I find meaning, or whatever." So they have to go find out this guy. Turns out it's a cult that they transcend from humanity into digital. So the whole idea of it all is to live forever and to transfer your brain into a computer, which, to be honest, is the most rational cult I've ever seen. That's what people are trying to do now, and so I mean, there's some things to be said about this. Let me continue, and it'll come up later. It'll make more sense. So, to get into this virtual world, what they do is they use... Well, I guess they don't have the technology yet to do it, but they're like trying to manipulate people into using it or getting them to feel comfortable with it or preparing them. And what they do is they use this VR headset, which is called the Daydream. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the Daydream. And what that does is it connects to your brain. And again, they directly... predict VR, and I love that about this. This is 1998, I believe, is when it came out, and they have VR and stuff. And like, I feel like in 1971, maybe we don't have hyperspace travel, but it's only in the solar system. They don't travel outside of the solar system, so it's very reasonable. Did I say 1970? I meant to say 2078. But in 2078, we haven't even left our solar system yet, and I feel like they did a really good job at predicting what we were going to see. And, I mean, the VR headsets were a little late, to be honest with you. But so they have VR headsets, although these ones connect straightly to the brain. So what it does is gets in there and it starts converting your mind. And I don't think those devices, though, actually convert your brain into the computer. But it's setting you up for it. But what I thought was funny, though, in that episode was they had... They had a game, a poster, and it said Tomb Daydreamer, was that it? What was it? It was Tomb Raydream. Tomb Raydream, and I was like, dude, that's real, because Tomb Raider Rise has a VR option as well in it, and so it's like not only did they predict VR, but they predicted that Tomb Raider would be in VR someday. But I don't know. It's not really a prediction, I guess. I guess it's a matter of time that we'd see that. I thought that was funny, though. Especially that I'm playing Tomb Raider as well. That's why it stuck out to me. So, let's see. What was it? When they were cutting Rosny's connection? Oh, okay. So, basically they find out in the end of the episode that Spike goes looking for him. Jet found him. So Spike goes looking for him. When Faye was there to collect the bounty, and so she had faked her way into this cult, got all the way up to the top, and she found this guy, and she was about to take him out, but turns out that he was a computer already in the simulation. He wasn't even real. To her, at least. He was just this computer screen on the wall or whatever, and then he puts her in this daze, knocks her out, and attempts to make her sleep to death. Like, there was a whole bunch of other bounty hunters down there, too. Then we have... So Spike comes and finds her, right? Now, as Spike is there, they have another plan. Jet and Ed go out to the hospital because they actually found out that the cult leader isn't even a real person, and they looked up the IP address that he was, or you know how Ed does, he hacks into it and he finds out through the computer. So he goes and looks for, him and Jet go and look for the dude, and it turns out that he is a vegetable, basically. He's retarded. And they go in there, and he's a vegetable, and they say some lines like, oh shit, man, this guy has just been sitting here and he's in his own world or whatever. And so then what they have to do is they have to unplug him because they're trying to get the bounty and everything. And he's like this villain. You know what I don't even get though, after all this, is how is the hospital allowing him to do this? It almost was like the hospital wasn't even aware of it. But I digress. So they cut the code, right? And so they're basically deleting all of it. And it was sad because as they were deleting it, the lines of code that like everything he was going through the screen, and in the computer voice, he was like, no, please, I want to live forever, don't do this. And so he was begging for his life while the code was going out the screen, and then it finally got to the point where it just said error and he was dead. Just a vegetable. I mean, he was still alive, but you know, he was a vegetable. So, you know, it is what it is. But no, that episode kind of fucked me up because they had mind control images going all over the screen, and it was like the Illuminati with the triangle and the eyes and tree branches, and it was like hypnotic stuff, and I was like, shit, man, I'm like hypnotized right now. So, but the whole episode talked about consciousness, the human soul, mind control, and cyber transference, and it was just really interesting. I liked it personally. I thought it was cool because it was like, oh man, if I could go on a tangent, I wish that's one thing I like to do is I'm the type of guy where I love to do research, and I wish that I had done some research on this, and then I could have had like something to present to you guys during this. But that's like a real thing though. Off the top of my head, that's a real thing that people are trying to do. Transferring their mind, because that's all your mind is a bunch of electrical signals and stuff. But yeah, so that was cool. I thought that episode was really interesting. I would recommend that one if you're just gonna watch a couple, I guess. But episode 24 was Hard Luck Woman. I had the emotions of thorough enjoyment. I had fun, and for some reason it reminded me of gaming, and I still can't quite put my finger on it. What game it reminded me of, but it reminded me of a video game that I had played a long time ago. Basically in episode 24, what happens is, what is this one? So Faye basically changes the ship's course, and they don't know why. Or Jet and Spike don't know why. But what happened is she was remembering her past, and she remembered she was watching a video on the screen. Remember that video that she got where it was like she found the tape, and it showed a video of her sending a message to herself into the future. And there was a landmark in this video that she redirected the spaceship Bebop to Earth to go find out what was there, and if she could find any answers to her past. But then at the same time, there's a subplot, because she takes Ed with her, because Ed's like, I know where that is. Because, you know, he's technology dude. Also, he lives on Earth, basically. He lived on Earth before he went with the Bebop. So her and Ed go off to go find this shit. And the side story of this episode is Ed doesn't know where her father. In Japanese, it's weird, because in Japanese, it doesn't clarify whether it's a he or her. At least maybe I wasn't reading properly, maybe, but it's, you know, I don't know. But in English, it's always her, but yet the name's Ed. And I honestly can't tell if it's a boy or girl, so I'll just say her because that's how it was in English. But yeah, so Ed's father is missing, and we get to find out that Ed's father apparently forgot Ed at, like, he put her in a daycare center and then forgot about her. So that was a little side quest that, you know, it didn't, side quest, a side plot that didn't, you know, it was good though, because it didn't affect the story. I didn't feel like, or it did affect the story. What I mean is I didn't feel like it was out of place. It was a nice detour, and I didn't even know that it was like a side story until I started writing my notes here, but it kind of like all meshed together just nice. So what is this? Oh, okay. So while Faye is out there looking for wait, is this the one where she finds? Yeah, it has to be. That's the next episode. But we get to see a little bit into Faye's past, and while we get in these last episodes, we get everything is answered, which is awesome. So we not only get the syndicate answered, what's the syndicate, and we get that filled out. You know, we feel fulfilled on that. We get closure on that, and then we have Spike's past and everything. We got Juliet, I think her name is Julia. Her past gets answered. Jet, his past had already been answered, I think, in a previous. Yeah, he already got his episode with his girlfriend and her new boo. But yeah, and so now we're getting Faye's answer. And so when she's in the shower, very delicious shower scene, she's thinking about her past, and she remembers the accident. That's what, I didn't have that in my notes. That's what happened, is she actually went to the landmark that was in the video, and there was a girl from her class that was like a super old lady, and she was like, do you remember the accident? She's like, what accident? So she basically was in an accident, and she kind of jogged her memory. And so later that afternoon, or later that day, she was taking a shower on the ship, and she realized and remembered what the accident was. And she was basically on a commercial flight in space orbiting Earth when the moon split. And so the moon split, and, you know, it exploded, and all these shrapnels came down, and she was like the only survivor of the ship. But to have survived, they had to put her in stasis like ice, cryogenics, before they could do anything. And so I thought that was a really interesting. I would want to see more of Faye's story. I think all these stories are very interesting. They're very simple, but they were interesting, to say the least. And the music, oh my god, the music was so goddamn good through the whole series. I even actually ended up when I was writing up the notes, I was listening to the whole soundtrack. It was so good. So then after that, and that was another imagery that was really interesting. Was when the moon crashed, it kind of showed from her eyes, and she was like looking out the window, and then all these like floating blood bubbles started floating into the view, because everybody was like, they were like crashing. And so I don't know what was happening. Maybe some meteorites or pieces of moon rock was shooting through the ship, but it was like blood was coming up, and it was floating in space. It was really cool. So with that said, skips over to Ed. Yeah, Lee. Yeah, without James here to be saying, oh, this anime shit. Without him here being screaming all the time and being obnoxious, you have me just telling you the joys of this anime. No, I mean, I thought it was good, man. I thought it was good. So continuing on, when Ed's father in episode 24, so let's see. Oh, okay. Ed's father thanks the team. Okay, that's the note. So Ed's father, they end up reuniting with Ed's father, because Ed's father is like a mapper, a charter of the Earth. So basically, he's retarded because he runs around charting the Earth so that he could bring a new prosperous, fucking world to the Earth, a new era, right? And the reason why they don't have a new era of prosperous is because nobody can track or can chart the Earth, because it's always being hit with meteors, and so the landscape's always changing. And so him and this dumb nuts just running around charting the world, charting the Earth, and they find the boy's father, they reunite him, and he's all happy to meet her, right? And then when he's thanking the team, he's like, thank you for finding, and he doesn't even know if his own child is a boy or a girl. He doesn't even know. And so, I mean, in English, it's pretty obvious that she's a girl, but the dad doesn't even know. So that makes me believe that we don't know. We're not supposed to know whether it's a boy or girl. Maybe there's some gender neutral term for a person in Japanese that I don't know about. Towards the end of that episode, though, the father basically was like this connoisseur of eggs. Like, that's all he'd eat is eggs. I don't know where he found his chickens from, but apparently they had like a fuck ton of chickens. But they basically give the crew a whole bunch of eggs just for finding his child. And they hard-boiled the eggs, but all I could think of was like, they're just eating buckets of hard-boiled eggs, and all I thought about was they're going to have some rank-ass farts after that episode. It's going to be some nasty-ass shit. You ever... Dude, farts after hard-boiled eggs. Man, where's James? I got some plans now. Dude, that reminds me. Dude, okay. I've got this thing going on with James, and you know, you got to use it sparingly or else he'll catch on. But I'm 2 for 2 right now. Basically, what I've been doing, it's only when we're like setting up the stream and everything. I ask him like, hey man, can you pick that up for me? And when he bends down, you know, I fart in his face. And so far, I'm 2 for 2. And when was the first time I did it? He was putting up. I think he was putting up the he was putting up the blanket in the back, and he fucking so we need to like clip it up onto the bar, right? And there was a clip on the floor, and I was like, hey James, could you get that for me real quick? He leans down, and I pretty much just shoved my ass in his face and farted. So that was number 1, okay? That was number 1. Then number 2, man, I can't even remember, what was that one? It was something completely different. Oh yeah. My cord for my mic, the wire that plugs into the mic, I plug it in the back of my computer because I like to keep the ports in the front open for whatever purposes. So I've got like 10 fucking USB ports on my tower, but I plug it into the back, and the wire for it was on the floor under the desk. And I was like, hey, James, man, I could have gotten it. But I was like, hey, James, could you go out to the desk and get that wire back for me? So he crawls under the desk. This was even better because he was trapped. He was like in a box underneath the desk. And when he turns around, my ass is just there. Oh, and every time it was a loud lightning blaze of glory. Oh, man, that's 2 for 2 right there. Oh, I can't wait for next time. The absolute shame on James's face. Wish you guys could see it. Moving on to the last 2 episodes. So 25 and 26. Which by far are the greatest episodes, in my opinion. So exciting. Maybe it was the coffee that I drank. I was watching at like 4 in the morning, and I was fucking drinking coffee, and I was really excited. Like, I was ready for some boring-ass episodes, but this was the shit. So episode 25 basically is the end of... it is literally the end of the series, but what it is it puts a cap on everything that we've experienced so far, and it wasn't... I'll tell you, every episode felt like fillers, maybe except for like 3 others. Even though the fillers were good, though. Usually in animes, fillers are like shit. But in this one, they were fun. I had a good time, and it was basically just enjoying... It was like a day in the life of this crew on the Cowboy Bebop, except for the occasional episodes where we got to explore their past and everything. But this episode, we get to wrap everything up in 25 and 26. And we already wrapped up Faye's in Hard Luck Woman in the episode before. And Faye, we found out... Oh, and so we found out that Faye... Oh, wait, hold on. Is this coming up later? I thought I had a note for that somewhere. We basically find out that, in the episode previous, Faye, her life amounts to nothing. Like, she has nowhere to go. She was a nobody. She's still a nobody. And she has nowhere to go. Oh, yeah, I do talk about that later. She wraps that up in episode 26, But 24 is pretty much the last we see of Faye. But yeah, 25 and 26 is the one where we get to see Spike and the Syndicate, and it all gets wrapped up. The chances that James are going to watch this stream, probably none. He might, yeah, like Lee says, he might come and skim through it, but, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what James is doing out there, so who knows? So in episode 25, it's called The Real Folk Blues, Part 1 and Part 2. We have the elders are in danger, quote unquote, is told to this mystery lady, Julia. And she helped Spike. And the music, again, the music, I have notes all over my notes as I'm writing. I even have to skip some of it. Like, the music is amazing. Just listen. Well, I mean, if you don't like jazz. Also, it's good if you've seen the anime, because then you remember the certain themes that go along with certain things, and then you have those nostalgia flashbacks. And so it's confirmed that Spike was a part of the Syndicate, and we get answers to everything: the dropped rose, the ripped up paper falling out of the window, Spike getting shot up and almost killed. Everything, all of it gets answered, and it's so refreshing after watching crappy ass anime for the last 3 months that y'all suggested. What do you mean, Lee? Wait a minute. What do you mean? Don't give me none of that. Not today. Vicious. So the character Vicious tells Julia, or he told her before, that he either has to Super Saiyan God. I remember that name. Welcome. We're almost done reviewing Cowboy Bebop, so you came in at the highlight of everything. Plus some little extras after I finish all this stuff. But yeah, so Vicious had told Julia that she either has to kill Spike or die herself. But she was in love with Spike. Something different. What? No, not true. Nothing's different about me. What are you talking about? So all throughout episode 25 and 26, we're getting a piece of those flashbacks that we saw in the first episode. And so we have, let's see, amazing detail. Spike sees Faye walking up behind. Okay, this is later. Like, we see the rose dropping, right? That's because Julia had asked Spike to meet her at the graves so they could run away together. But she chickened out because she knew that if she ran away with him, that she would have been killed or something like that. Maybe I have it in my notes. I can't fully remember how it was. But basically, she didn't show up because she was going to kill him. And she decided not to kill him. So, oh, okay. That's what happens. So she set up a meeting with him to meet him at the graveyard, which is what it was the paper. So he had the paper, right, to meet, or maybe he, oh, okay, back it up again. I think, okay, so he was going to say to run away with her. He was leaving the Syndicate. I am missing my Mocha shirt. I was thinking about wearing that, but this gray one, first of all, is the most comfortable shirt I have. And I thought it was cool because it's like black and gray, and it was like we're all just depressed and dark on the inside. Continuing on, Spike wanted to leave the Syndicate, and he told Julia to come with him. So he says, he gives her a note, meet me at the grave. And so Vicious finds out about this, is like, use this as the opportunity to kill Spike. And so then she was like, no. After he leaves, she's like, no. She takes the note, rips it up, throws it out the window. So that's what that was. And then, what was it? I think either the rose was either Spike brought the rose or she brought the rose early. But I think Spike brought the rose. And then she never met him at the gravesite. So then he drops the rose in the puddle. There's the rose. And that's him smoking as well because he's like, fuck this shit. It's so good. It's so good. Super Saiyan, what is this? Yeah, I was here last time, but it's me, ladies man. I changed my name. Oh, okay, ladies man. Ladies man. The only thing I remember of you do is every 5 minutes you're like, oh, I gotta smoke this real quick. I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a smoke. No, but it's good to have you here, especially good. So later on in the episode, Faye, while she's out about doing her shit, she's like running from the crew because she doesn't know who she is. She's nobody. And she finds this girl who turns out to be Julia, running from the mob or running from the syndicate. So she helps her escape. And because she does, Faye's like, hey, we could be a team. We could, she's doing the basic team thing again. But instead of being with Jet and Spike, she finds this girl and she's like, hey, it's nice to have another girl, on the team. Let's you and me go out and be bounty hunters together or whatever. But then Julia's like, nah, I'm looking for a bounty hunter. It's like, do you know who Spike is? She's like, how do you know who Spike is? And she drives off, get out of my car or whatever. She drives off. But, oh yeah, before that, Julia says, can you deliver Spike a message for me? And what was the message? Shit, what was the message? I can't remember what the message was. It was something cryptic that only Spike would know. And Lee says, people has always said this anime was good or really great. In all honesty, I've never heard anyone talk about it really. You never heard that anime was good or really badly or really great? What? In all honesty, I've never heard anyone talk about... Oh, talk badly about it. Except for you, Lee. Fuck, man. Anything with COWBOY, I don't want to deal with that. In fact, I was just watching Firefly the other day. On they finally put Serenity, not Firefly. Well, Firefly was the series, and then Serenity is the movie. They finally brought Serenity to Netflix, and I was watching that the other day, and it reminded me so much of Cowboy Bebop, because Serenity it's exactly like Cowboy Bebop. It's this crew that's flying around the galaxy in a spaceship, and it's all Western and cowboy and stuff, and it's so good. That movie, highly recommend Serenity. That is so good. Now the series only had one season and got canceled. The series was great, amazing too. I don't even know why it got canceled, but it did, which left me empty inside. But at least the movie did answer a lot of the questions, so that's kind of cool. But Lee never spoke about it badly. I just find it hard to get into it because of the title. I've just heard that it's a must-watch. 5 episodes was enough, though. You just heard that it's a must-watch. 5 episodes was enough. What? I mean, the first 5 are good. Okay, do this then. Well, first of all, you should know, because through the whole series, I've been telling you guys, like, oh, this is a filler, and then this one you should watch. I forgot what the titles were, but like the first 5 episodes, yeah, there's like a couple in between that's like about Jet's past and Jet's girlfriend. That one for sure, and then watch episode 23, because that one's about Faye. No, 24. Then watch just 24 through 26. 10 episodes. 10 episodes. That's all you need to watch. And they're good. They're really good, I think. Don't like Firefly. You guys are insane. Get out. I don't want to hear none of it. Dude, Firefly was good. Guys, I don't even know what to say to you guys right now. I'm sad now. You brought on the big sad. Oh, shit. Where am I? So Faye comes back, and then Jet's like, hey, you can't just be coming up in this ship, you try fixing your ship, you can't do that, this isn't a fucking garage that you can just come, it's in a shop. And she's like, nah, I need to go talk to Spike. So, never heard of it actually. Well, Emma, you go ahead and tell, Emma, you are a cancer to society, don't even like Star Wars. Well, the new Star Wars sucks. So episode 1, 2, and 3 actually now are the second best. Episode 1, 2, and 3 in hindsight aren't even that bad anymore. Episode 1, 2, and 3 were okay. 3 was good. 4, 5, and 6 was slow and boring, but had amazing plot points and amazing storytelling, I feel like, but it was pretty boring. And it's an old movie too, so you can't expect much. So, wow, Emma. You just don't like space travel. Space travel is so cool. That's why I'm making a board game about traveling through space, okay? Fuck, man. Space is so... Because you got, like, there's no limits to it. You could do whatever you want in space. Anyway, never mind. So, Faye comes back. She's going to relay the message to Spike. But I thought this was a cool moment. Not really a story plot, but just a cool observation was that he had a wine glass. And she walked in, like, really light-footed. And so as she comes to the doorway, he knows she's there. He's, like, changing his pistol. And he says, like, you have this look on your face. It looks like there's something on your mind. And at first, I heard him say that, and I was like, what do you mean, look? You're not even looking at her. And I'm that nitpicky kind of guy that's like, that's an odd choice of word to use. And I just thought it was, just a typical, oh, looks like there's something on your mind. But, he's not looking at it. Maybe it was an error or something. But they actually meant the wording choice was chosen on purpose because the camera then focused on his wine glass. Or his scotch glass, or whatever it was, and he could see a reflection in it. And I thought that was so cool, because it really showed what kind of type of person he was. Because, yeah, he's sitting there in a room with one way in, fixing his pistol, right? And his back is turned to the door, but you wouldn't do that. If you're being hunted down every day of your life, and you have the threat of being killed every day of your life, you're going to be aware of your surroundings. You're going to have your back to the wall all the time, right? But in this case... it's perfect because he looks vulnerable. It gives him enough time to actually see what the enemy is gonna do. So he positions his scotch glass just right, so where he can see the people coming into the room. Maybe I'm overlooking this or looking too much into it, but I just thought that was a really cool note or thing to make in the anime. Super Saiyan says, I love Star Wars, but Disney needs to do a better job at making better movies. Yes. Disney make the best movies. Watch is why they're so popular. Disney makes the best movies, which is why they're so popular. They make the best animated movies, but I'd say Pixar does. But, Disney is Pixar. I'd say Pixar. Disney movies never... Fuck. Yeah, no, I like the classics. Well, like Lion King, the ones like Little Mermaid. Well, hey, you know what? The Disney princess movies generally were kind of, never, I'm a dude, so, generally speaking, I wouldn't be into those. But like the cool-ass Disney movies like Tarzan, Lion King, oh my god. Fuck, movies like those, those were good. But no, Disney doesn't know what they're doing with this new, because here's the thing is Disney is good for like the princessy movies and the really like gay, if you will, movies and like the really lovey-dovey, make you want to cry movies. Sure. Disney owns Marvel too, so I don't understand why Disney did so well with Marvel because they hired the right people with Marvel, but then they sucked ass with Star Wars. And it's like they took a hold of the Star Wars property and they made it for an audience that didn't exist. That's what it honestly comes down to. They willingly, intentionally, they're not ignorant, they're not stupid, they know what they're doing. They were making it for an audience that didn't exist, and that's why nobody likes it anymore. But if they would have done like what they did with the Marvel property and made it for the Star Wars fans, we wouldn't be in this mess. They would make really great movies. But again, it's not Disney. I mean, Disney is just the company. They can hire whoever they want to do the movies. They just hired the wrong people. So it's not that it's great because it's Disney. It's just it's great because they know what people to hire. They know what movies they're trying to make, and they let the directors and the writers do what they do. But they didn't do that with Star Wars, so whatever. Anyway, where were we? Rank ass farts, wine glass. Okay, so later on in the episode of 25, part 1, we have. Let me know about to come back to about Disney. Yeah, Lee, you missed it. You missed it. But no. Okay, so Vicious comes. He's trying to do a coup on the elders, on the syndicate. He comes in. He gets captured on purpose, right? And And so then they send him to the chambers to have him executed. And the elders apparently are meant to be there. But it's all a part of the plot because while he was there to be executed, his bird comes down and blows. He's kamikaze. The bird comes down, got a bomb in his stomach, comes down and blows up everybody. And the ones that are still standing, there are a few that are on his side. And so then they turn and shoot the people. And then they throw him his sword. And then Vicious gets his sword and he comes out to the elders, kills them. Kills 2 of the 3, and then he comes up to the 3rd one and puts the blade right up to his eyes, kind of like how the Joker does with the mouth. And he looks at him and he's like, and you will shed tears of scarlet. You will shed tears of scarlet. Then it goes behind the elder, and he's like, and oh my god. And he really does cry blood because he got his face cut open, and blood's coming all down his face. It was good. It was good stuff. Emma, you say, have you ever heard of a masterpiece called National Treasure? Yeah, that was the, oh yeah. Didn't they make like 4 of those, or 3, or maybe just 2? I don't know. They made multiple National Treasures, right? Oh yeah, the original National Treasures was a classic. That thing was awesome. Yeah, Lee, what? You haven't heard of National Treasures? Treasure? National Treasure? That movie was the shit, dude. Oh my god. You need to watch. There's so much you need to watch and catch up with the rest of us normal people. What are you doing, Lee? What are you doing? Alright, so episode 26, part 2, final episode of the series. And Mai Tai prefaced this by saying they ended it beautifully. And let me say this, let me preface this onwards as well. You guys, those of you that have been watching this podcast since we started doing the podcast several months ago, and we were watching crappy anime, and even back afterthoughts and when it was couch time, if you guys were here for all that, y'all know whenever we talk about animes and be like, man, I hope this happens at the end, or I hope they have emotional weight at the end, I hope they everything that's built up isn't just waste, isn't just for naught, and they actually wrap up the things that they present and talk about. This is it. This anime does exactly what we were complaining about these other animes should do, but I guess it's just a matter of audience, I guess. I don't know. So 7 minutes in to episode 26 it is the part 2, Real Folk Blues. So they're trying to get away. So it continues from last episode, and Spike and Julia are trying to get away from the syndicate because he finds her. He gets the message right from Faye, goes, finds Julia, and now they're doing everything that they meant to do from the very beginning, and they're running for their lives from the syndicate. Okay, it was just Spike and Julia, and hold up. Okay. I thought I got confused in my head about timelines and stuff. No, but so Spike and Julia are running away. I think they're running back to the ship, to be honest with you. So he's trying to bring Julia back to the Bebop, and they're running through this town, and it's like really noir. I'm talking about, like, you know, you got your 9mm pistols, you got shotguns, they got Tommy guns. They're all dressed in like suits and fedoras and everything, and really noir. Okay, so they're running through the city, through fire escapes, on top of buildings, and like he's turning around, shoot. And so Julia is like behind Spike because he's like leading the charge, right? And they're coming from all sides, and they got on the roof, and this whole time there's no music playing. That's another thing that's shocking is, like, when you don't play music, it can be just as effective as playing music, the right music at the right time. But not playing music is also a really strategic way to provoke emotion because you're just in the moment, you know. You're like, your mind is just there. And so they're running, and they're both on the rooftop. Spike already got shot once, I think. And so they jump, right? And so then bullets start hitting them from behind. Spike turns around, and it's like first person as he turns around. And so he goes around, and then Julia's like right in his crosshairs, and he yells, "Get down!" And so she drops to the floor. Boom! Right? Kills the guy on the fire escape. And then So they keep running, right? And so the bullets start again, and he's killing people in front of him. Turns around again, and there's someone behind him, but he shoots and misses. And when he shoots and misses at the same time, that gets almost like Deadpool. That scene where that guy shot and Deadpool threw the knife and missed him or whatever, and he shot his wife. It was like that. So he shoots him, but at the same time he shoots Julia, and she's like falling down. Oh my god! And there's doves flying. Dude, it was amazing. I almost cried. I don't even know Julia, but I know how much Julia means to Spike. And we've only had like a few episodes that tells their story, and everything else is just a day in the life of. And it was so good. You guys talking about Full Metal Alchemist? I never watched it. But I should. I've heard great things about that. Maybe it'll go on the list one day. But 10 minutes left. Oh man, I've been talking too much. It's because of these stupid 6 episodes this time. That's what it is. So Julia dies. Oh, it was so emotional. And then he goes and grabs her, right? He's like, oh no, don't die. And he looks into her eyes, man, and her eyes are like dying. You could see the life just being sucked out of her eyes. And she whispers something to him. But she died. And by the way, all that that was only 2 lines of notes. That's why I'm too late. I would love that. Yeah, I would. It was amazing. I wanted to cry. It was good. And then another amazing point was, okay, so Spike comes back to the ship, right? He's bleeding. Julia's not with him. And Jet never liked Julia because, of course, Julia was supposed to kill him. So, of course, you know. Now, instead of showing heartbreaking emotions and like Spike crying or yelling or just showing like, you know, you'd expect that, right? Or coming back, because he came back to say goodbye to Jet because he's gonna go and now lay a whoop on the Syndicate because they just killed the love of his life. And he comes back, and then Faye's like around the corner peeking around the wall, right? Because she knows what's up. She knows what happened. But instead of them sharing like final goodbyes, being like it was good serving with you, or like, you know, it's been good, you know, with you, whatever. Instead of doing that, Spike sits down and he's like, you have anything to eat? Jet's like, yeah. Gives him a plate, you know, really monotone, relaxed. Eats it and he's like, you know, it tastes like shit. And then Jet's like, you always think it tastes like shit. And I mean, no music, right? This is right after the scene Julia just died. And you can tell both of them know what's up. They both know shit's going down. And then so Spike finishes his meal and he's just staring at it, right? And the camera like goes to Jet, goes to Spike, you know. And then Spike just proceeds to tell this story about this cat with stripes, and is like, this cat never died and he lived forever. And oh, maybe I could take apart this story right now, but this cat like lived forever and went through owner to owner to owner and lived forever. And he was a miserable person though. But then he finally found, oh, the story does make sense. He finally found a cat. It was like a white pearl cat or whatever. He finally found this cat that he loved, and he fell in love with this cat. And the only reason why he could never die was because either he never wanted to, or, man, I should have wrote down the story. I would have remembered it better. But basically he couldn't die for some certain reason. Even though he wanted to die, he couldn't die. I think it was like that. It was like an opposite type of deal, right? But he finally found the love of his life, and he lived his whole life with the cat, right? She grew into old age and she died, but because he was immortal, he doesn't die. But because she died and the love was no longer there, he then died. Like, I guess it was like he gave himself permission to die or something. But the point is, it was kind of like a pointless story, but I guess you could kind of connect it to Julia and himself. But Jet says, I thought you hated stories, which is also interesting too, because Jet had told a story. It was like this, oh my god, they set this up like 2 episodes ago. Jet even told him a story about someone one day, and then Spike turned to Jet and was like, I hate stories, or I hate your stories, or something like that. So then Jet says, I thought you hated stories, or long stories, or something like that. And then Spike turns to him and he goes, he goes, I do hate stories, or Something, it was either that or it was either this. He said, because I know it had to do with cats. So he was like, you hate stories, you hate cats, or maybe it was just you hate cats. He's like, why are you sad? Why are you telling me the story? You hate cats. That was it. He said, why are you telling me the story? You hate cats. And then he turned to Jet and he said, yes, I hate cats. That's why I love this story. And then they both start laughing, right? They're laughing out of their bellies, man. And then once they finish laughing, he gets up and they both go straight faced again. And then the gravity of the situation hits him. And then Jet finally asks, he's like, are you sure you're going to go through with this? And he's like, yes, I have to. And then he walks off. And then that's when Faye jumps in. But hold on, before I move on though, it was like Private Ryan, Saving Private Ryan, that war movie where the guy, what's his name, played Bourne Ultimatum. Well, Ryan. Private Ryan in there when they were about to save him, and then the Nazis were coming, or whoever it was. He told a story about like his sister or something, and it was like a moment before the storm where it was like it made you laugh, but then you were immediately sunk back down into the reality of the situation. Amazing. But yeah, so then after that, he goes out. Faye knows what's up. She finally had regained the entirety of her memory. And she kind of says say goodbye to Spike in her own way, trying to convince him not to go. And she tells him that she remembers everything now and that she's a nobody and that the team is all she has. And then she like shoots at the ceiling with her gun to try to stop him from coming because she like wants to shoot him. But why would that change anything? That kind of didn't make any sense to me. But you know, women, you can't understand them. So then finally ending this episode. So Spike... Okay, so he goes to the Syndicate to go. He comes up in there strapped with weapons, grenades, everything. He's like, I've come here to do two things: to whoop ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. You know, he comes in there and he starts blowing shit up, and he makes his way up the tower. He finally finds Vicious, and then it's like a revenge. He's like, I'm gonna kill you because you and your syndicate killed Julia. I'm gonna fuck you up the ass. It was a quick fight scene too. It wasn't even that long. Like, Spike ran up the stairs, right? And then he pulled out his gun, pop, tried to shoot him, and then he dodged a couple times. And he used the sword, and so was that. And then they both they like locked up for a second, then managed to drop their weapons, right? And then they were like, let's get this done. And they kick each other's weapons. Spike draws his gun and fires, and at the same time, Vicious strikes, and then so Vicious like cuts him wide open. Spike shoots him, and so they both shoot each other, but Spike does kill Vicious first. But then he ends up dying from the wounds on the stairs. Like, he's walking down the steps, and he ends up dying, which he would have died anyway because, well, I guess he wouldn't have, because there was a bunch of Syndicate guards that had finally made it up, caught up to him. But if he had killed Vicious, he could have been the Syndicate leader, though, which he wouldn't have taken. But anyway, he dies. So, you know. Okay. Now, he remembered, as he was dying, he remembered what Julia said, which was, it's only a dream, and I don't even know what that means. And then the final theme song was Gotta Be Free. So, I mean, it was all just hits you, like he actually died. He didn't come back. There was no after credits. He was just gone. He dead. After all that. Now it's like when you go back to watch the series, like, you're going to watch it with sadness and it's like a memory, watching a memory. So, sounds like Death Note to me. Very similar. I was actually thinking, because I was like, dude, if he dies on the stairs, then I'm going to make the reference to 2049 Blade Runner, or Blade Runner 2049. But you're right, also Death Note. But he dies face down though, not face up, and they're big cathedral stairs. Okay, not little dinky dink, fire escape stairs. None of that. But yeah, there he goes. It's only a dream. He even talked about his dead eye, or he didn't have an eye or whatever, seeing the future, and now one eye was stuck in the past, one eye was stuck in the future, and it was like, he was referencing Julia with that. One eye he was focusing on himself in the future, and one eye was focusing on Julia. But it all being a dream, though. Death is the ultimate release. You know? So that's what happens there. That's Cowboy Bebop in the entirety. And now you have the most in-depth review, I believe, on YouTube of Cowboy Bebop, because I've reviewed every fucking single episode one by one. And you can watch every stream to get a piece of that action. Now for the story, for those 6 episodes, I gave it a, what did I give it? I gave it an 8.5 out of 10 because I really enjoyed those last episodes. Were amazing, really good. It reminds you of another Lee. Wait, who dies on the steps in another? I don't remember that. Yeah, I don't know about that. You tripping balls. But as far as overall enjoyment, I felt that the writing was clever. The soundtrack was unique for each episode, and it very much complemented the story. Each soundtrack, each music was new. Every episode had new music. It was like, of course, there was theme songs and stuff, but it wasn't like the same stupid background music that you hear in all these modern animes, especially the campy ones and the ecchi ones and the stupid the Umbrella. No, Lee, it's nothing like the Umbrella scene. You're just trying to be cool like Emma Roberts for mentioning an anime, but you really have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, the soundtrack was great. I felt like I bonded with the characters. I didn't bond with Faye, although I felt sympathy for her. I had compassion for her. Ed was retarded. Ed could just not have been in the anime at all. But I did laugh at Ed many times. He did make me laugh. He made me laugh. But yeah, I bonded with the characters very well. So I think the writing was great. The series didn't go too long. It didn't overstay its welcome, I don't think. Some episodes, I only call them filler. I don't think they were actually filler. They weren't really. They were just the series. It was what the series was. It was just Cowboy Bebop, the team just hunting for bounties and just getting into trouble, and that's what it was. It wasn't fillers, especially with an episode series only 26 episodes long. There was no filler, but some episodes had less meaning than others to the overall arcing story, whereas some were like directly like pushing the story along. But so I didn't feel like it was too long. The ending provided closure. It answered everything. Jet, Spike and Jet never really were that much friends. They kind of just met each other and whooped ass together, and they decided to stay together. Jet didn't even want Spike on the ship when he went back to go get Julia. He's like, dude, just don't ever come back. Leave the ship for good. So, some kid fell off the balcony? What? Oh, Lee, why didn't you film that shit? But yeah, so the provided closure. Everybody got the answer to their story. Ed finally found his father. Faye found out that she's a nobody. She has no relatives anymore. Her whole family died off. Emma Robert, your response is he okay? And mine's like, what? That's hilarious. When did you film it? Spike got his closure. He died with Julia, basically. He died avenging Julia. With no Julia, he wouldn't want to live anyway. It was basically take revenge and die was his thing. Jet got his closure a while back. He got his closure with his girlfriend, moving on from her, his ex-wife, I guess. And so now Jet just still is a bounty hunter, travels the world, I guess. It's Jet and Faye now. They're together. So at least, the team's not completely disbanded, so that's kind of cool. Disbanded? Desponded? What's the word? Dispatched? I can't remember the word. Something. And then the ending was profound. Somebody died. Somebody died. That's what I'm talking about. Someone's gotta die. Or else it's not as emotionally heavy. You gotta take those risks. Gotta get it. Gotta get it in. And then all questions answered, which is what I said. So, I mean, overall, I feel like most of every 5 episodes we watched and we rated them, we always gave them like an 8.5, 8, 7.5. I think one time, maybe like episode 15 through 20, we gave it, we were sitting at like a 6 out of 10. But most of the time, it did hang around 8. So I think I'm going to give the series like a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10 overall. Because I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd watch it again. I know I watched Ergo Proxy twice. I watched Death Note like 3 times. And I read the entire manga. So, I mean, there's some series where you can just watch over and over again that I love. Psycho Pass, I didn't watch again because Season 2 sucked. But, yeah. I watched Attack on Titan twice. I usually only watch series maybe twice. And then I forget about it. Maybe I'll watch them again like 3 years later or something like that. A few years later. Disbanded. So I was right. I said the right one at some point. Disbanded. But yeah, I mean, the whole series I thought it was great. I mean, I guess if you don't like cowboys, if you don't like space or cowboys, then you're going to hate the series then. But if you like either of the two or both, you'll love it. I don't know. If you like jazz, it's a good time. I think it's a good anime. I think it's a good time. But everybody has their preferences. I personally have, you know, my Mocha stamp of approval on that sucker. Go ahead and watch that shit. But that's it for the review. That's all I have to say about that. Next week, dude, have I had the promos going? Oh no, I haven't had the promos going this whole time. Damn it. Anyway, they're going now. What's next, Lee? I'll tell you what's next. Wallflower is next. Yeah. So next week, Monday at 6 p.m., we're going to watch Wallflower. So, yeah, you no longer have to keep up with the anime to remind you of the promos every week. I know, Lee. Usually, I have everything going, you know? But anyway, yeah, so next week, we're going to watch Wallflower. Monday at 6 p.m. as usual. And we're also going to make a special episode as well because it's starting a new anime series, and now we might just do fantasies, philosophies here on this channel instead of the fantasy club, but most likely we're just gonna be watching anime and we'll review it like we do every series, but we're gonna tack on an extra hour of fantasies, philosophies, and subscriber stuff, which we still need to do the subscriber special, but it's been so hot, the air conditioning doesn't quite work in this room, and I don't want to be stuck in this room for 12 hours, sweating my ass off with James. But, you know, we might end up doing it anyway, which we still haven't talked about it much, but don't cross your fingers. Don't hold your breath, because I don't think it's going to happen, at least not for a long time. Yeah, it took me long enough to do this card game thing, but yeah, Q&A, by the way, is open. If you guys want to ask me any questions, feel free to ask the questions. I'll answer them. I'll stay here since James isn't here. I'll stay here as long as the questions come and as long as we're having a good time and all that stuff, and then we'll close it up, and then we'd see you next week. And also Wednesdays we have our afterthoughts, not the last one, second to last one for this month. There should be 4 every month, but it might be bi-weekly now because James, how do I put this in a flattering light? James has chosen to not do the work. And, which is okay. Which means if I have to do both sides, both analysis, then I don't think I could push out 4. Well, it's basically 3 a month because one of them's the review. So I don't think I could do 3 characters of analysis a month because, yeah, they're kind of cheap essays. They're not really well thought out. They're kind of just off the top of my head, just typing out what I think. But there always will be a review. There'll at least be a review, but I'm going to have to be the one to write the essays. Can't sit through it. Well, no, Lee, look, the idea was we were supposed to write up a good argument for our analysis of a character, and we were supposed to go back and forth. See, we were supposed to read like a paragraph, or maybe even the whole thing, but we were supposed to read a little bit, and then the other person was supposed to go like, hey, yeah. No, actually, like, even better, it was supposed to be like every every paragraph that, like, say it was my essay, right? I would read a paragraph, and then James would go, you know, I know a lot about that dissociated state. I'll tell you what, I think blah, 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 blah. And then once we finished talking about that paragraph or that trait, then we would move on to the next paragraph. But it didn't work because this is James we're talking about. And then when he read his thing, when he wrote his thing, he didn't finish it, and he had a paragraph, so I couldn't. We never published what he read because he didn't have an essay. He read just kind of his notes, but that's why it didn't work out. And I think that this is going to be really great because I've loved this. I love producing this more than any other content I've ever made on this channel. Therefore, the quality will be good. We're just trying to figure out. We're just trying to figure out how to present it and present it in a way that you guys will like be engaged and really enjoy it. Because to me, I thought the information was fun. I thought the research was interesting enough, and I thought it was good. Except I felt that the presentation was really boring. And if you don't think so, that's awesome, because then I'm just gonna get even better. But to me, having to watch it through after experiencing it, I felt it was really boring. So we're gonna work on getting that more interesting. And more, a better way for you guys to, you know, enjoy watching it instead of just watching a person just read a fucking essay. What we're actually going to do is we're going to make it to where we can, every paragraph is going to ask a question. And if it's my paragraph, I'm going to be asking James. At the end of every paragraph, I'm going to ask him a question, and he has to answer, kind of like Jeopardy. And he has to answer the question. Not about the anime specifically, but like about what we're talking about and see what he knows. And then that'll spark a conversation that we're going to have that's not scripted, that's free, and we'll have this wonderful conversation. And it's going to be like the podcast that we have, but except there'll be anime playing in the background. So you guys can actually watch clips from the anime. And I can't do that on the podcast because if I play the anime clips, you know what would happen is I'd get DMCA takedown and all that shit. At least when it's pre-recorded, I could upload it. And then that way, if they strike it, I could take it down. Or not strike it, but if they say, oh, this has copyrighted content in it, then I can be like, oh, my boy. And I can take it down and re-edit it, fix it up to where it doesn't have any of those issues. And I can upload good, fun stuff. And then Emma says, as long as you're happy with it, I'm happy with it. I appreciate that. I've always liked improv. So yeah, it'll be a bit of both. It'll be a little bit like the podcast where we just talk about what's on our mind, and it'll be a little bit scripted where we read an essay. But it's not going to be the whole essay this time. It's going to be one paragraph, 1 or 2 paragraphs that we're just going to read for like 10 seconds, and it'll get into improv and rhyme stuff like that. So yeah. So there's no questions at the moment. Before I end the stream, I want to put this on record, and of course for you, Emma and Lee, that the new card game that we're going to be doing and what it's going to look like. Because I was trying to put together a demo of what the new, well, it's not really the new promo or the new Mocha membership. What it is I'm trying to get through my files here. It's a new sponsorship program I'm doing where you can sponsor a character, a card. And every week we're going to have a tournament, or if we only have a few people, it might be once a month. But depending on how many people we have, we're going to have a tournament, and it's going to show up at the beginning of every stream like this. And what we're going to do is everyone's going to, you'll be able to sponsor a card, such as this one. Where is the display capture? So you get to sponsor a card. This is my card, and Lee sponsored a card. Thank you, Lee. For all of your patronage to this channel and everything that you do for us, whereas you share our links and you're always invited. You've invited more people than everyone combined, so you're like extra privileged forever. But yeah, so you get to sponsor a card, and that card then gets put, like if you ever played Smash Brothers, it's like that. What it does is it's like a tournament, going up there to the prize, and everybody's going to be thrown randomly into slots along the bottom. And we're just going to zoom into a slot and be like, all right, it's Lee versus Mocha Fantasy, right? And then the game, you're not going to be able to play live because obviously you can't tell us in the chat what you're going to do, because eventually this is going to get, if this gets big enough or whatever, I can't have you guys all just going blah, 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 blah in the chat. So it's all going to be pre-done, but it's basically going to be set to where the more you visit the stream, the stronger your card will be, and the stronger your card will be, more likely it will win. But it is going to be a bit of randomness. It's basically going to be like it uses its strongest move first, and then if you don't have enough attack points, it'll use the next one down. And then there's also rolling of the dice, and I'll probably put, like, I have miss factor in there, so I have a lot of variables where your card, even though it's stronger, you may not win, or maybe like you get like some bonuses, like you get like roll the dice for a critical hit or something if you've done this in the stream. Like there's like achievements and stuff. So every week you'll be able to, your cards will go up against each other. Now Emma says, when you say sponsor, I have to pay because I'm broke. And then Lee says, I'll do more when I can. It's fun. So Ligiously is just going to be OP. Now I'll answer that sponsor, and no, you don't have to pay. You can pay, but there's another way to do it. Just like the Mocha memberships that we've had. And you can sponsor as many cards as you want. You can have, like Lee, if you want, you can have this card, and then you can sponsor again. And you could be like, all right, I want like a Lee, an evil Lee, or you just make up a character like, hey, I want Samus Aran in this, because of course this isn't like, it's not like I own into this stuff. We can have fan fiction and fan characters and fan art and stuff. So you could say, hey, I want Samus Aran. I want to sponsor a Samus Aran card. And then you can tell me, all right, I want Samus. Does she have a faction? What is her move? What moves you want her to use? What's her weaknesses and resistance? Or you can leave them all blank and I'll fill them in. But you can ask me to sponsor a character and I will do so. Now, sponsor, basically how you sponsor is you can either, where's my notes? Hold up. Oh. That's not in there. Where did I put the notes for it? Well, I basically already know. You can either donate, you can either donate at least $1. So you could donate $1, $5, $10, however much you want. And these cards, and when you sponsor, by the way, you will get a high definition print of the card, and how those look is so these aren't completely finished how the layout looks, but you basically will get an image like this, whether it's email. I'm not quite sure how we're gonna distribute these, whether it's through email or maybe I'll set up like a Discord link that has, because once you sponsor it, it's not just yours, anybody can download it if they want. So I might set up like a Discord that's like a FAQ playing card game that you only can get into if you've sponsored a card. A P.O. box. I'll mail you $1. Oh, you don't have a credit card for PayPal? But no. So you can do that. Or, back to this old idea, if you invite 3 friends, that's it. 3 friends. If you invite 3 friends onto the stream, and I'm even making it easier. It's not just 3 new friends altogether. Just 3 friends that missed missed a series or missed a podcast. So if you have a friend who they may be a subscriber to the channel, they may even be a Mocha member, but if they missed last week, which means they're not a Mocha member, but if they missed last week and you invite them onto the stream this week, then and it's 3 people, then you will have sponsored. You're now a Mocha member, you got your extra privileges, and you can now sponsor a card. All you have to do is you have to prove it to me. Either I have to see it in the chat and be like, all right, yeah, you got it. And then just direct message me the information you want on the card. Or if you donate $1, you have to show me like the username you used to donate that $1. That way I know, oh yeah, this is you or whatever. Emma says, I do have a Discord. I don't have a credit card. Lee, literally, that's all my friends. But yeah, that's my point, though. Is you don't have to invite someone brand new. You could just invite someone who just missed the last week. As long as they didn't come last week, then you can invite them this week and get the point for it. So if you get 3 friends to come onto the stream and say hello that were not here last week, whether they're new or returning, you get your extra privileges and you can sponsor a card. Or you can simply just donate $1, or you can donate 5 or 10. There's no like premium sponsorship where your card's like level 100. It's just if you donate any amount of money, you get a card, and then you get sent a print like this, where this is the front and this is the back, and this is Lee's card. So if you can see that close, it has Lee's name on it. So if you have a YouTube channel, the username will almost like always be "that's gay, I'm gay." But if you have a YouTube channel though, your name will go on the back. And let me just try to share a little vision with you, I guess, because I mean, of course, I plan to do this channel for a very long time, and this is the type of stuff no matter what content that I do. Hey, Retro, you came in at the best time possible. You want to sponsor a card, bro? No matter what content I do, this card game could be forever. We could build this shit. Yeah, James is dead. James, I killed him. We did booty stuff too hard last night, and he no longer is with us. So, but just imagine though, guys, like if we build this card game, this is just a fan thing. It's not even like I mean, I'm making rules that you can play. It's pretty much going to be like Pokemon, but a little bit different. Because I already have a board game that I do that has card battles in it, and I'm just copying those rules over. But they're very much like Pokemon card trading game. But imagine you guys have a Discord server called the Fat Card Game or whatever, and in that Discord channel you just trade card screens like this. You can print them out. You need to print them out at home on cardstock, or you can print them. Go to a Copy Max, and like say like you have like 100 people that have cards. Well, you could just take a file of 100 cards. I've already done this for my card game that I'm playing with my friends. Just take 100 files over to Copy Max and have them print them all out on cardstock front to back. Now that's gonna run you like $150 for like 100 pages. But I mean, I'll probably end up releasing like a card pack that has like all like 9 cards on it, that you can print 9 different cards, and then there's like a sheet 2 that has 9 more cards, and that way, because I mean, that's where you're going to be paying out the ass if you actually ever do play this in person, because you have to be printing all of these out. But if you don't print them out, that's fine. But if you do end up printing them out slowly over time, just for fun, and imagine if you get together with someone at like a convention and you're fucking playing this card game, and everyone's like, what is this? But my point was being that your name goes on the back. If you sponsor the card, your name goes on the back. So if anybody prints this out, especially if it's like your YouTube name, it'll have your name on the back, which is kind of like free promotion. So it's kind of like you scratch my back, I scratch yours, I guess. Not really. But you are donating something. It's either your time to get those friends on, like your wall space to get your friends on, or you're donating $1 or $5 or whatever to sponsor a card. But at the same time, your name is going on the back, and people are going to see that. And I mean, I might even put like YouTube religiously, but I'll just put your username that you use. But you get my point. So yeah, it plays like Pokemon. But yeah, this is basically what you're going to see if you decide to print it. But for the most part, it's just going to be these cards are going to come up on the screen in like a tournament style. They're going to go up against each other, and if you win, you go to the next bracket. And each row is going to be a week. So bottom bracket, you have week 1. Everybody fights, blah, 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 blah. And then everyone goes to the next bracket, and then we continue it next week, the week after. And then that bracket fights. Then the third week, the next bracket fights. And the fourth week is going to be like the finals. It's going to be like, all right, guys, this is the last round of the month. And whoever wins this round is the winner. And there might be prizes. Maybe you get to commission an artwork from me if your character comes on top. I don't know. What if we just tweet it or put it on Tumblr? Now, you can do that. It's just, if nobody's listening to you, then if you got no followers, some people are going to be worth more than others. But I might think like maybe if there's like post engagements, like if you can take a screenshot of your post and maybe it has like a certain amount of likes, maybe it has like 100 likes, I don't know, that would count as a sponsorship. Yeah, if it like has 10 or 100, I have to do the math on what $10 would get you in advertising. But basically, yeah, if you get like 10 likes or 100 likes, then, oh, prizes is a t-shirt. That'd be cool. And then I could like mail it to you guys or something. That'd be kind of cool. How does that even work anyway? Like, how would I get merchandise to you guys? Do I literally have to have people's addresses? Because I feel like that's shady as fuck to just have random addresses of people's. I don't know how that works. Yes, so you guys wouldn't mind just sending me your home addresses to some weirdo on the internet. That's like, I don't know. Hey, I guess, whatever. If you want a shirt, you wanted to send it to me, then yeah, DM your address, I guess, if you're a winner. And then I'll send you the shirt, I guess. But yeah, basically, like, I mean, obviously, this isn't fully planned out, but this is the idea. This is my idea of what I want to do, and I think this would be a really cool idea. Oh, Lily, oh my goodness, you trust me. Oh my goodness, that makes me feel so warm inside. Yeah. So I mean, that I wanted to unveil this to you guys, so you guys are on, I can hear it, and if you guys are interested in sponsoring, I'm even thinking about maybe clipping this out. Oh, holy shit! Oh, Retro, what? All right, Retro, I got you. Was that saying anything? I want to sponsor a card. Moves is all. I didn't read it all. As long as you don't email your farts to me. Oh, that's gonna happen now. That's gonna happen now. I'm gonna email you my farts. You're gonna see a little MP3, an MP3 recording in your email from Mocha Fantasy. It's gonna be like ultra surprise. So wait, how do I read back what Retro said in his donated chat thing? Donation amount, super chat, subscribers. I didn't read it, dude. Couldn't read it. Maybe I just click on my donations. Oh, now it's going real slow. Uh-oh. Okay, here we go. Retro said, I want to sponsor a card. It's called Retro Kraken. Okay. And then moves are Olive Garden Rage and Olive Garden Extra Cheese. Retro Kraken plays Olive Garden with extra cheese. Oh crap, where's my list? Hold on, let me put that on there. Images. This isn't it. Hold on, guys. I'm not even paying attention to the chat right now. I'm gonna put this in a safe place. Playing card rules, gameplay notes. How do I put that in there? Retro Kraken. Sponsor card. Well, how about this? I'll just do like a whole new thing. Sponsored cards. Okay. And then I'll put Retro Kraken. Okay. Is that all you want, Retro? Do you want to give me more details than that? How did you... I have never seen the sponsor thing come up before. That's awesome. Extra cheese, search deck for 1 energy, like in Pokemon. Hey, look, I don't know if I'm going to do energy cards yet, because it's meant to be played right, like on the screen right here, and it's not ready for tabletop gaming, like real cards. I mean, I don't see why not. I could always re-edit the cards. Maybe I should do energies. You know, the energy cards would be the strength. Okay, hold on. Let me look at the cards again. Because it would be... So we bringing this up here. Display. So, right now, there's no energy. It's just attack points and dice rolling. But down here, we have skill. And so you have your weakness, skill, and resistance. So I think, like, your skill is basically the equivalent of your energy in Pokemon. So in Pokemon, your energy would be like water, fire, you know, whatever it is. In this one, it's called skill. And right now, Lee has magic. So there'd be... So if you were using the skill magic, you would always be using... Well, I guess your first attack wouldn't use your skill. It would just use attack points. And then you... Because that's your, you know, your default or, like, nondescript energy or whatever. And then there'd be a little puck or whatever, or a card that would be magic. A magic card. That's actually a good idea. Okay. Good going, Kraken. I'll get started on that right away. Let me put that in my notes as well. Magic. Okay, and then one more thing, too, that you guys should see as well. It's already open. Do you want to reopen it? Okay, and here's the big thing as well. Wait, Retro, I want to take it to, like, my card shop and play it like normal. No, you probably could play these in Pokemon, because that's like that's what it is. I mean, I based these cards off of a card game that I've already made. But that game, that previous game, was based off of the Pokemon playing. So you probably could. But, so, Retro, you gave me the name. If you want, your character can be in a faction, and you can choose whether they're good or evil. I'm going to have, like, a little list that you would, what you would do is after you sponsor, you would direct message me that you sponsored, and that you'd like to, or that you donated and you'd like to sponsor a card. And then I'd send you back a list, and it would say, what's the name? What's the faction? Are they good, evil, or neutral? Olive Garden. Dude, come on, Retro. You can't... you can't fucking be... You want to draw your own card? Alright. Alright, well, you got to send it to me. Either send it to me in Discord, or send it to me... I don't know if YouTube does direct message, but, you know. But yeah, you get a list back, and it would tell you what you want. The name of your attacks, which you did... now the attack damage, that's going to be kind of on me though, because I got to balance everything. But then you choose weakness, skill, and resistance. But I'd send you a list. I'd send you a list of the questions you need to answer. And you could leave any one of them blank. And if you leave them blank, then read the Olive Garden message. Okay, let me read it then. Fine. My donations. Your content has my copyrighted? What? Hey man, that doesn't mean that. So, oh, I didn't even show this part. Hold on. Okay, so this is also, this is on my end though, that you guys don't have to worry about, but basically I'd be tracking all of you. So right now, I have the name of the person who sponsored the card, which is Ligis Lee. And then the name of the card, which is Lee. And I have her edition number, which she's card number 2. And then her faction, which she has none. And I have her level, which I'll change this right now. You are level 2 now? Hold on. What level are you? One podcast show visit is 5 levels and 20 stamina points. So, Lee, you now have 5 levels, and you have 40 attack points. Whoops. And you haven't won, you haven't beaten anybody yet, so you have no retreat points. 1 win is 1 retreat point. You have no wins and no losses. So, well, I mean, I have to track you guys, because I have to know what you guys have in your decks. Because otherwise, I don't know. So yeah, that's how it works. So I'm going to be able to track your cards. So Lee, if you were to have donated again, and you'd have your name here, and you'd have a different card, and you'd have edition number 3, and you know, all that same stuff. Platinum rank now. Alright, so yeah, so every time you visit the stream, what I'm going to do is at the end of the stream, I'm going to look back over the chat, so I could just look at all of you guys. And if I see you in the chat, because I won't know. If you just watch and you don't say anything in the chat, I won't know that you tuned in. Unless you take a screenshot of you tuning in, you might as well just say in the chat, hi. And then I'll know you're here. And then I'll put down, I'll up your level. And I'll up your attack points for just showing up. Yeah. Retro also, two for $25? Can you? Oh, I guess you can. Yes, Retro. Okay. Retro, you have to DM me, either on Discord or on YouTube, and tell me that you sponsored me twice, because I remember that. Sponsored me twice, you even tell me it was Olive Garden, and then let me know what you want in your card. and then I will do it. Now, if too many people do this at once, it's gonna take me a while to draw up all this stuff. And if you want your own art in it, you can. You could put your own art in it as well. But if you want me to make the fan art for you, you can do that as well. So yeah. Yes. For Olive Garden. So yes, oh, you know what? Let me... I mean, I'm not supposed to be doing this in real time. Because I'm supposed to do this later. But just because we are here. Retro Kraken. Do you want me to put it in Olive Garden? It doesn't matter. Olive Garden. And then we'll go... Zoop. Yeah, so that's... So just so that you guys can get an idea of what I'm trying to do here. And I think it's going to be a good idea. And hopefully next week I will have an actual demo ready of the game. Well, Lee, the first card for you, Lee, was free because you're amazing. But the second card, Lee, you are gonna either have to donate or donate your wall space pretty much on whatever channel you have and promote the channel. Let us say like, oh yeah, come to the next stream. But I mean, not just promote. Well, I guess you could just promote. If you promote the channel in any way, like if it's in a post or a YouTube channel, video or whatever, just send the link to me. And that works too. If you promote us anyway, and it gets like at least 10 to 100. I would probably have to say 100. If it gets 100, close to 100 engagements, then you will be able to sponsor a card. And just send the link when that happens. Or you could just invite 3 people onto the next stream and have them say hello, and then you'll get sponsored. So basically, just think of that. Just think it's either donating $1 or more, or it's advertising, it's marketing, basically, which is all it's all money it's all the transference of value to me. It all the same shit. So yes, Lee, if you want to do another card, you can do as many cards as you want, but you cannot use money to upgrade a card. Money can never upgrade a card. If you do all methods, then each method is a card, then I guess. Toon decks, like in Yu-Gi-Oh? What do you mean? What's a toon deck? I don't know what a toon deck is. Toon deck in Yu-Gi-Oh. Recipe? Three-star dimension sample deck? Toon World? Are you serious? Well, I don't see why not. You can do anybody. You can sponsor any character in a card. So it's just cartoons. Well, what do you mean? Can there be like toon decks? I just had an idea for one card. Other methods I'd want to do just because. Well, yeah, other methods. One single method, if it reaches the standards in which I am promoting. And like I said, I'll open a Discord page, I'll open a Discord page that'll have all the information. It'll have the rules to the game. It'll have the rules of what you can suggest. It'll have examples. It'll have everything. So, yeah, I'll jump on that right away. Like Retro Kraken and Toon Retro Kraken. Well, yeah, I mean, if they're different cards. Yeah, you guys are asking really ambiguous questions. Arbitrary. You're asking very arbitrary questions. Do not let your imagination get in the way or not get in the way. Because with all it needs is a character, and it needs 2 attacks and a description. That is it. I mean, of course it needs everything on the screen, but what I mean is it can be anything you want. As long as it can be compatible with every other card, you are good. If it has 2 attacks, and it has a magic, and it has a weakness and resistance, and of course HP, which all HPs are going to be around the same, just because of the first excuse me. first batch of cards that I make have to be all the same HP because I'm not a game developer, so I don't quite know how to balance games properly. I don't know if I can. So everyone's HP is going to be the same. The only difference is going to be how the damage is dealt, and your ranking up. Basically, you're leveling up. That's the difference. Lee says, "I'm sorry. I just like the art you did on both cards. Looks so cool." Oh my god! Thank you so much. Oh yeah, you like yourself, don't you, idiot? You know what else I'm doing too? You're sponsoring these cards means so much more than what you think. Okay, so you sponsor a card, right? Either it's through marketing and advertising, right, for that one post, right? Or it's donating $1 or whatever. But what you guys are getting is you guys are not only getting you're not only getting a card that you sponsored, right? So this is your card. It's got your name on the back. It's your character. Everything about it is you, right? So you get that. Not only do you get that, but you also get... there's also a print sheet that comes out so you can print it out in real life and actually end up playing this game for realsies. But also you get... What else do you get? What was I going to say? I'll just put this up real quick. But what you also get is... I record it. So I record the process of me drawing, like, you know, my speed draws that I do for my brain food. I record that process. So at the end of every month, I will post like a speed draw of all the cards that I made, so you can watch your character being drawn. And you can watch your character being drawn speed draw. I mean, that's just a little bonus. And with nice music playing, you know, just see your character drawn from blank to sketch to finish. I mean, it is kind of sketch. I mean, I'm not fully finishing these artworks. I'm kind of like just like drawing like a quick sketch like within an hour or two, and just kind of just to get it on the card real fast. But yeah, but you can see that speed drawn. So that's more content for the channel too. Because now there's like an extra video at the end of every month where you get to see your cards being drawn. Yeah, so Retro, if you want to put your own artwork on there, you can. Or you can draw something and send it to me, and you could have me remaster it if you want. You can have me make it new and different and, you know, just HD. What about iPicture? iPicture? You mean my picture, or like the max version of Photo Booth, iPhoto? You can put a picture on there, yeah. Again, you are asking very arbitrary questions. If you can think of it, I mean, as long as it's not porn, as long as it's like legal. If it's legal in the sense of like you know, fan art, fan use. I mean, obviously, but legal as in like not porn. It's not. I mean, I guess that's the only thing that would be illegal, right? Because if it's like a character, that's just fan art. That's a fan fiction. That's not anything there. Yeah, just make sure that it's, you know. I mean, you can even have people dying in the picture because it's art. It's art. If it's legal art, it's good. Yeah, I think I've answered your questions. There's no limit. If you want to put a picture of yourself and it's just you, I guess, I would prefer it all to be artwork, and I will strongly suggest it because all the cards will look the same. But you know, if you want a picture of yourself, you're the one donating, you know, to help out and support the channel and stuff, so I don't see why not. And right now, it is only $1. And it's only 100 post engagements just because there's not a lot of you, and I could probably handle that demand. But just be aware that as the demand goes up, and if this channel does start taking off and a lot of people start donating and sponsoring cards, I mean, how many of these can I do? If it takes me 2 hours to drawing up an image real quick and maybe another couple hours just to put the card together, you're looking at, that's 6 hours per card. And if, like, say, like 10 people sponsor cards, you're looking at 10, like, days of work that I have to put into these cards. And I don't know if I'm ready for that with everything else going on in the channel. So just be aware that if the demand goes up and I can't make all of your cards in an appropriate time, then I will have to increase the price so that people stop ordering, sponsoring cards. Yes, Retro. I would prefer to draw you rather than have your picture on it because it matches the aesthetic of all the cards. How many cards in a deck? There is no limit, man. I don't know. That depends on you. If you're playing tabletop with somebody, I guess you guys would have to decide ahead of time how many cards go in a deck. But right now, there's no deck amount. This is like, you guys are in on the ground floor here. This is like baby ideas. All this really is, I mean, I want you guys to think big and I want you guys to be excited about this, and I'm excited and I think this is going to be really cool, but it's going to have to evolve, no pun intended. It's going to have to evolve into something great, because right now all it is just a way for you guys to come into the stream and be interested. It's just a little poop that at the beginning of every stream, it's like, oh, Olive Garden comes in and uses extra cheese, and then Lee defends herself with sarcasm, and it's like supposed to be a joke. It's a big fucking joke is what it is, and then you get to be the winner at the end. It's a way to track, it's a way to get you guys to come back. You know, you guys can track every time you come in, your card gets stronger, and it's like raising a baby. You know, you gotta nurture it, you gotta be present to take care of it and make it bigger and upgrade it and stuff. So yeah. Retro tournament streams? Yes, Retro. That's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to a tournament with 2,222 cards, like in the first Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. I don't even, like, I've never played Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, so I don't know how that works. How does that even happen? That's so many cards. But anyway, I think I'm done. We all have a lot to think about. And I appreciate you guys coming in and giving me your feedback and everything. And so, yeah, I've said my piece about the next week's show. And, what was that? Promo slides? Why do I have... Display... How did display capture get in there? What is that? Put that right there. Do all your cards level up, or do you choose just one? Oh, thank God you haven't. Well, all your cards. The card that is connected to your name. So, as I showed you previously, I have a scorecard here, right? All the cards that are connected to your name will rank up. So, yeah. 30. What's the date today? It's the 13th. So yeah, if your name is connected to the card, you will rank it up. And I thought I was the only one with a history of Pokemon or history. Now, how the tournament's gonna work every month or every week is you're just gonna be picked by random, and I guess you could fight yourself, I guess, or maybe, well, yeah, you have to. I mean, maybe when it becomes big enough, I'll only choose one of your cards at random. And I'll use a randomizer. You know, I'll go online. There's websites where you could click like a randomizer. You can even edit the exact number in there. And I can say, oh yeah, 5 cards. Assign a number to each one of your cards. Punch in 5 in the number and randomize it. It'll go 3. And then I'll pick card number 3. And so it's basically going to be random as far as what's chosen. So yeah, your card, whichever of your card gets into the tournament is going to be random. But all your cards will rank up as you come to the stream. But like I said, it's all a joke. This is meant to be fun and entertaining, and me and James are to be the announcers, and we're going to be screaming out the move, because what I'm going to do is, it's going to be great. I'm going to animate it all too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have your card, I'm going to pre-record all of it. I'm going to play out the tournament, and every move that is made, I'm going to edit it in Vegas and make it animate it do that move, right? And so what we'll do is we'll play you a pre-recorded version of the tournament that I edit in Vegas every week. and we are going to announce it. And there's gonna be music, there's gonna be sound effects, there'll be highlights and explosions, and it's just gonna be chaos on the screen. It'll be green screen, so it'll be just the cards, and when we'll be behind the cards, screaming and yelling and being like, "Oh, he pulls out a cheese mix, and Mocha Fantasy seduces you with his spells," and it's gonna. I think this is going to be fucking hilarious. That is what this is all about. It's laughs. It's to have fun and laugh, and it's a big joke. So nobody take it too seriously. This isn't like legit tournament Pokemon shit right now. Emma says you should put that in the description along with a schedule of what's to come in a few months. Basically, the idea though is that it's gonna be fresh every month. So there's gonna be one tournament a month. So depending on how many players we have, will determine how many brackets we go up in each podcast. So if there's only like 8 cards to 4 brackets, you know, so, you know, right? 4 brackets, 8 cards. We can knock that out in a month easy, just one bracket a week, right? But if there's like 100 cards, then we might have to do like 5 brackets in a single podcast. And so it depends on what we're going to do. The card sheet, description and schedule of what's to come. Oh, the card sheet. You should put that in the description along with a schedule of what's to come in a few months. Put the card sheet, you mean? You mean, when you say card sheet, do you mean this Excel sheet right here? Of everybody's current rank? And the anime show to come? Yeah, I got you, Emma. I won't be able to put this in the description, but I can put in schedule for the next few months and the anime shows to come. Well, I do put the anime shows to come. I put those in they're the promos, you know? That tells you. Oh, I see why that's down here. It tells you. But yeah. No, I totally feel you. Yeah. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. So, yeah, so when you just don't forget, when you donate, I'm not going to be able to I mean, there's so little of you I'll be able to see it, but just when you if you sponsor, whether it's money or it's just spreading out the link and you get like 100 likes or 100 views or whatever on the promo that you send a link to the channel, then, or if you get 3 friends on, you know, screenshot it and send it to me in a direct message, whether it's Discord, email. I don't look at my emails much. Instagram. I think YouTube has a direct messaging thing. Minds.com I think is like the #1 place to do it, but you know, Discord might actually end up being the right place during the live streams. What if now, Emma, if you miss a week? What do you mean if you miss a week? Look, if you miss a week, your card just isn't going to level up. If you miss that, I mean, you can get it back because you can. There's other ways to get levels than that. There is. Now these aren't finalized, but you can get 5 levels in showing up. But if you have a group of 3 friends invited into the live chat who aren't Mocha members, that levels you up as well. So it's kind of like donating money, but it's not money. So anybody can do it. It's not pay to win. It's just you have 3 friends. They all help you level up your cards. You get 10 levels if you invite 3 friends onto the thing. And then also, well, I guess that's the only way to get levels. After, if you don't show up, if you just have 3 of your friends come on for you, and they all say, "Hey, I'm here because of Emma," then I guess you could still rank your character up. These are going to change, though. You get extra stamina points, too, when you have your whole faction. And if you have 2 or more faction members, you'll get 5 stamina points for each faction member that's in the podcast that showed up. Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll find out other ways to level up your card. But the idea, though, Emma, to answer your question, is that, yeah, if you miss a week, your card is not going to level up. The idea is to get you into the podcast. To be frank, you know, it's all advertising in the end. It's all marketing. And if you're going to do multiple animes, the schedule will help. Oh, the schedule. So you want the schedule in the description of the upcoming animes. Well, the schedule will help. I'll put, okay, now that we're watching so many animes at once, yeah, I'll put the schedule of the animes in the description. Because yeah, you're right. We're not going to be watching a set 5 episodes. We're going to be watching like 3 here, 2 there, 2. So yeah, I'll definitely do that. But that's only when we have watched them. And oh my god, sometimes we haven't even watched the anime until Monday. So that's a little tricky as well. Do a schedule. All right, so let me, you know, oh, I exit out of that. Whoops. What I'm gonna have to do up in this bitch is do this. Write me notes, man. Y'all are telling me so many things. Sections, schedule, animes and descriptions. Yeah. Going on 2 hours, so I like the link to a Google Doc. Link to a Google Doc. Oh, okay, dude, Google Docs. All right. And then, yeah. Okay. If you're gonna do multiple animes, yeah, I'd like a link to a Google Doc. All right, so I'll work on getting a Google document. I've never used Google Docs before, but I will set that up. So I can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and fack off myself. I think we've had plenty of time to talk with each other on the stream, and I've had a good time, and I think it's the start of something delicious. And even if it isn't, I just love doing new things, man. I will never, ever be able to be one of those YouTube channels that are like the same thing. You know, like CinemaSins. I don't even know if they're still around. CinemaSins, I would never be able to be like CinemaSins, where... Dude, he's just been doing CinemaSins for like 5 years now, and it's the same stuff. Not that it's bad, it's funny. Or Emma, or like Game Theory. It's all, I could never do the same stuff. The same along the same theme of things, sure, but I like to change it up. So anyway, so that's what I'm gonna do, and I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out and being an absolute pleasure to my eyes. Fuck off! Have a wonderful day. Now I gotta take the largest ass fucking shit of my life. Good God.